Hey friends, happy Wednesday, the 12th of January. It's nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I will give you a daily reflection on the readings for the day. They're linked on the sidebar. Read them prayerfully if you haven't yet, and then turn off your screen, spend some time with God before you move on to other things. Sunday, January 23rd at 2 p.m., you're invited to a parish synod process, part of the worldwide synod that Pope Francis has called an opportunity for us to reflect on what the Holy Spirit is doing in our midst and in the midst of the world. That's at the SCM Parish Center, 624 Bridger, 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 23rd of January. Hope to see you there. Okay. We have a continuation of the story of Samuel the prophet, and then we have Jesus in Mark's Gospel. I want to start in Mark's Gospel. We have signs of Jesus. This is the beginning of Mark's Gospel. Jesus is going to do sign after sign after sign. So yesterday we had casting out of a demon and teaching with authority. Today we have continuation, a healing, and then we have liberation, casting out of demons, as well as teaching. All of it good, but I do draw our attention to the second half of the reading. Rising very early in the morning, Jesus leaves town and he prays. And then his followers, his students come up to him. Everyone is looking for you, you know. Just imagine what that might have been like. You are a fisher person working the Sea of Galilee, and you decide to leave everything and to follow this itinerant rabbi that's doing something new. And then in your hometown, where people know you, Capernaum, he does amazing things. And, you know, probably a small town, a small fishing village on the sea or on the side, the shores of the Sea of Galilee. What's that like to be one of the first students of the most exciting and popular and entertaining and fascinating and curious thing that people have seen in a long time in a random, boring fishing village on the shores of the Sea of Galilee? What's that like in your social circle? And to just be amazed at what God's called you to. And so, you know, you can imagine, everyone is looking for you. Behind that is Simon Peter like, let's go back. Let's set up shop. We have the ability to change the lives of everybody that matters to me. A couple of things. Jesus has just animated the entire town. What does he do? He walks away. Early in the morning before anybody can stop him. And he prays. And then instead of going back, he says, I have a further mission. Other towns that need to hear the proclamation of God's kingdom and need to be shown that God's kingdom is in their midst with the signs that God's Spirit allows me to do. I think that those are some places that many of us could fruitfully pray. Being focused on the mission, letting go of the humanness, the importance of rooting ourselves in prayer, that it's not about busyness, but instead it's about being beloved children of God, called to that mission and fulfilling that, whatever that might be. Perhaps those are useful places for us to pray. The first reading, we have a pretty famous story of being called. Samuel, who is a young boy at this time, being called to be a prophet of God. My prayer, I did get hung up at the very end about this word, accredited prophet of the Lord. I find that fascinating as a translated word. I was curious what it was in the Hebrew. But, you know, God who made all of Samuel's words effective. So, you know, God who calls Samuel. And then this call story, right? And we certainly can desire physical, audible calls, thinking that, boy, it would be easier if I just knew what God wanted me to do. You know, and I think that the place to pray into might simply be, how is it that I'm experiencing the call of God in these days? Maybe a yearning, maybe a desire, maybe that awareness when I sit in silence of that draw towards service, full relationship, silence, holiness. We might be experiencing that call through the voices of others who it seems like the Lord is working and using. That can be challenging, as we well know, because there are so many voices. We might experience the call of God in the call of the church in one way or another. The challenge, of course, is that we are very aware that God can use all sorts of different means to be in touch and communicating and incarnate to us. It certainly can be confusing, which is why we root ourselves in silence and in prayer. I wonder if even for Jesus at times there might have been challenges with all of the noise that went on around him and the need for him to step aside and go off to quiet places and to pray. I found the psalm to be helpful. Lord, here I am. It's not about necessarily doing it right. It's not about even knowing what it is exactly, but here I am. I come to do your will. We just sit in openness and surrender that it's not about us and our control, but instead about the will of God. All right, plenty of stuff to pray on, right? Jesus, who goes off by himself to pray and then has a mission to other towns. Samuel, who experiences the call from God in a very tangible way. Our response, and even that discernment of how it is that the Lord is moving in our hearts. All right, happy Wednesday, friends. Turn off those screens, read the readings prayerfully, spend some time with God. Be praying for each other, and especially be praying for folks that are having a hard time. God bless you.